I suppose I should say too that we are doing kind of quarterly questionnaires that we're going to send out so that we can kind of grow the network and make sure we're growing it with programs that people are actually interested in, that are actually going to help people. So you'll see that on a quarterly basis. We're also going to, like many other networks, they have kind of now that you're in the Inland Family Network, these are additional opportunities for you, whether it's websites that you may need to grow your business or business cards. We're in the process of kind of building that all out for you as well, potentially getting deals on CRMs for people who maybe wanted a CRM, but they don't want to pay a lot of money. We're looking at low cost items because I think most people aren't trying to do this full time. Some people might be. A lot of people do run a full-time referral business, which is what the trainings kind of are going to be developed around. But if you're someone who is not interested in that, then you don't have to worry about it. But if it's someone who is interested in that or wants to grow an extra amount of money on the side, we're going to provide trainings in that direction so that people can, grow their business if they want to. So it's really, if you love the way things were going and you don't want anything to change, then super. It doesn't have to. But if you're someone who wanted to grow your business and wanted to kind of add more to it and have a website and have a business card when you're out networking, we can provide those opportunities at lower costs for you now that you're in the network. So, but I'm glad to be here. I'm grateful to own the network, and I'm grateful that Dave's on as our managing broker. So I'm just glad everybody's here today, and please feel free to ask at the end, like anything, whether it's relating to the training or questions of us. We're happy to answer anything that anybody has. So sorry, Dave, since you were doing that, I figured I'd fill in the time. Do you know that your drive is up on
Yeah,
the
I
screen?
saw that. No, that was not supposed to happen. And I'm trying to figure out how to close it out.
It's probably your other computer.
Maybe. Oh, I see. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. All right, folks. So let's do this. Let's keep these simple and sweet. Stephanie gave you a little bit of a heads up, but I want to go a little bit deeper at this. Stephanie, you are the owner of the network. Could you give the group an introduction as to who you are, your background, and what you are planning to do with this network?
Sure. Mainly kind of what I said already, but as far as I go, I spent a couple of decades in higher education. So I was actually Dr. Stephanie Dean of Schools for Allied Health Schools for a decade, and then wanted to get out of higher education because it was killing me. I was working 10 to 12-hour days, 6 days a week, and wanted to own my own business. So that's actually when I met Dave. I went to get my real estate license at Inland Real Estate School, and I left the education world, and I said to him, really solid curriculum. I'm not sure about that instructor. And he's like, well, who are you? And I kind of told him that I was a school turnaround specialist at the time. And he said, I need a vice president. And I said, oh, no. I'm getting out of education. I do not want to be in education. He's like, well, you can partner with me in the real estate school. And I'm like, geez, I guess so. So that's kind of how Dave and I ended up working together with a real estate school. But I'm originally from Michigan. I've had my license probably 25 years. It's a long time. And from Michigan, and about 11 years now for Illinois. And I'm working on my managing broker for a backup for Dave, and to be able to do training sessions and other things with everyone too, so that we can give you guys as much as you want and provide as much support as is needed. Because I can't do certain things just having a broker's license by law. So I want to be that backup for Dave as well, not rushing it. But anyways, that's kind of about me. And we've loved to grow the school and have students. And when the opportunity came up, I was really excited because I've actually wanted this for several years, and we just hadn't had the opportunity to get it. And it just made sense with Dave as the managing broker and me as the owner for right now. So we're glad to be here. I'm grateful to have the company. It's really a legacy company. I'm not sure most of you probably don't know it's been around since 1984. So I really do consider this a legacy company. If you look on the website too, we have a wonderful quote from Dan, about Dan Goodwin, because we really appreciate the opportunity and what he's done for the community. Highly respect him and what he's done. So we want to continue in the same exact vein. We don't want to make any big changes. I know a lot of people get nervous when someone new comes on. They think you're going to change everything. And that's why I just wanted to let people know that, if you loved how it's been going, keep doing that. Keep doing amazing things. We're going to make sure everything is perfect, that you have what you need. We're going to continue to grow the website so you can submit referrals directly through the website. It'll give you the ability to actually click right there and send it to the other broker as well when you send it to us. So we're just trying to make things super convenient, super easy, super quick. Veronica, no, Frank left. Veronica's asking if Frank Gatz is still around. He was gone with the transition, actually before we took over. So that was part of the reason that somebody needed to take over as well.
And I will give you a heads up on what's going on around here as well, so you can understand why this has happened.
Okay. Well, with that, I'll let you start, Dave.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Now, my name is Dave McGowan. I've actually been the managing broker of commercial sales here at Inland since 2001. Dan knew me from my prior life as a real estate licensee. And when he called me in 2001, he said, "You're not managing an office at this time." I said, "No, I'm not, because I've already sold my company and I was trying to figure out the next step in my career." He said, "Good, come over here. I want you to be managing broker for commercial sales." So I did. I took over that role here at the Oak Brook office, and I've been running the commercial sales division. 2006, he said, "Hey, wait a minute. You've been teaching real estate." Yeah, because I came from an education background. I taught art at Maine West High School. And one year when they had to drop from 7 art teachers down to 3, I was, of course, one of the newer teachers I was let go. So instruction has always been around me. He said, "You've been teaching real estate?" Yes, I have. I had taught for Coldwell Banker, Triton College, College of DuPage, Harper College. And he said, "Why don't you start a school for us?" I did that. In 2010, I got called back into his office. He said, "Why don't you buy it from us?" Which is what I did. So that's how we got Inland Real Estate School wrapped up into this. And the school is going to be an asset for you because you still have to do your continuing education. And we're going to get the education programs laid out through the school to help you achieve that objective. Now, I don't know how much you've heard about what's happening here at the Inland organization, but unfortunately, Dan Goodwin passed away a few months ago. And okay. Dan passed away, and there's been a number of changes to the organization. One of the changes that directly impacted me is that they decided, the new people with the Inland organization decided to terminate the brokerage division. And in doing so, that's when they brought me in and said, "Okay, we would like you to take responsibility for the network." And we worked out an arrangement where Stephanie bought the network. I became the designated managing broker. Because the person that was a designated managing broker, her name was Sue. She was the accountant here. She's moving into a different realm. Therefore, being the designated managing broker did not work. Frank Getz, he did the administrative work. And with this transition, Inland decided that we'll let Frank go, and then it's up to Stephanie and myself. So that's where we start. What I want to express to you and everybody that's a part of the network, and there's over 450 of you as a part of the network. I don't know how much active support Sue had provided as the designated managing broker. I'm inclined to believe not much. I don't know how much active support you got from Frank, because Frank was not a licensee. I need you to understand that I am going to be here to support you. And when I say support, I don't mean just 1 or 2 days a week. I'm going to give you the same support that I give to my students. That means you're going to have the ability to reach out to me 7 days a week. If you are struggling on anything that's involved in a transaction, even though we are limited to what you can do, and that is to initiate referrals, collect referral checks, there's still times when you're going to have to try and intervene with the consumer. And you might need a little bit of direction. My intent is to be there for you. I owned a real estate office, residential office of 7 facilities, 7 offices. And just so you understand where I'm coming from and what my attitude is. When I got into real estate, I did so not because it was my choice. It's because, one, I had no idea what I was going to do. I had no idea what I was going to do when Maine West said goodbye. Got a call from my father. I'm going to real estate school. I said, you got a good personality. You should do well. He said, no, you're going with me. Get over here. And that was my entry into the business. The managing broker that recruited me made promises to me. And I believed the man. Turned out that was a mistake. So once I passed the exam, I walked into the office ready to get started. He said, there's your desk, there's your phone. Now don't bother me again. That set the tone that I promised myself that I should ever have a company, that everybody associated with that company was going to have support, backup. And that's why Stephanie and I have talked this over. And we want to do regular training sessions with you, providing you with a little bit of insight on things that may be of benefit in terms of helping you get this off the ground. Can you make money? Yeah, you can make a lot of money just on referrals. But you're going to have to be able to get the word out there that you are a contact person that people can rely on, and to get some direction on how to make this thing work. That is what both of us intend to do with you, to be that supportive mechanism for you. So based on that, there are going to be some changes in how we are going to be doing things, but they're all going to be in the positive. Unlike the way that Inland ran this. Now, I've been a part of the network to the extent that I, being the managing broker in the commercial sales, had to put people into the network. And unfortunately, I knew from past experience, there wasn't a whole lot of support given there. That's what we want to change. And the education and the support are the 2 main crux of what it is we would like to accomplish. Now, I know we don't have a whole lot of the people joining us right now. And that may be because it is during a work day. I am going to be trying to put some of these programs together, potentially on the weekends, to be of greater benefit to a greater share of people. I've got a number of things I want to present to you. And basically, it starts off here. Feel free that we're going to do some things for you, the training aspect. We're also looking at marketing. How can we create exposure in the marketplace that gives you a chance to interface more with people and generate potentially more leads? I'm also going to be giving you market updates. In the school, I always give my students marketing blurbs because they're going to start a career in real estate. Let's start it off right, looking at where they're going to be at. We're going to be doing that with you as well. So when I become aware of an article that may have relevance to you and understanding what your role can be, that's going to be presented to you. So you're going to receive regular emails from us on this concept. So look for them. If you don't get them, reach out to me.
Dave, I'm not sure if we're seeing your screen. Is everyone seeing Dave's screen, or is it just me? I don't see your screen.
Yes, I see it.
Huh.
I see it
Must just
also.
Yes, I
Must
see it
be.
also.
I must have the wrong view or something. Okay, continue.
All right, you scared me there for a second.
Yeah, I don't see
But I want you to know that this is
anything.
our goal. This is our mindset in helping you grow your business. And honestly, if you come to me and say, hey, Dave, it's been a good run with Inland, but I think it's time that I join eXp Realty and take some of the concepts that you have given to me and put it into actual practice as a broker, then I'm going to say, great, I'm behind you 100%. Because the whole objective is to help you grow. And whether that's with us or with another entity where you can become more productive in your career, I'm going to follow that. I'm going to work with that. Does that make sense so far?
Absolutely.
And you'll find that when I do these training sessions, and I apologize, while the camera is here, my screen is here. So if my attention isn't looking directly at the camera, it's because I'm looking at the screen such that I can relate to you what I want you to know. So I do apologize for that. As like I said, my normal setup, I'm having problems with that camera. I've got to buy a new one. Next thing I want to take a look at. Oh, wrong screen. I don't know how much you are aware of what's going on with the National Association of Realtors. And I need to bring you up to speed on this because as a real estate practitioner, it does impact you. The provision, the agreement, I should say, with the National Association of Realtors actually went into effect on the 17th, Saturday. But I need to qualify. This is an agreement. This is not the law. The law that this is going to result in isn't going to become effective in Illinois until January 1st. So they're still trying to put the details together based upon what happened. Now, I'm going to make a presumption that you may not all be up to speed on this. So let me give you a little background. There was a number of sellers out west who actually objected to the fact that the National Association of Realtors was fostering real estate brokers, listing brokers, taking listings at a commission rate and then sharing that commission with the buyer's agent. Well, it's been that way for 70 years. But these sellers were objecting. Why do I have to pay the commission for that buyer? Why are they getting off scot-free? It went into a class action mode. Back in March, the National Association of Realtors agreed to settle it. And the settlement required that they pay $418 million as part of the settlement. But the biggest issue was NAR was no longer going to advocate a sharing of commissions. And they're also requiring that all multiple listing services take off of their products any indication that there's a cooperative share of commission between brokers. So that's what brought us to here. This agreement is now in place. Like I said, though it's not yet the law. The state did indicate that they will make this law in Illinois by the end of the year. Now, what does this mean? Well, basically, the buyer's got to sign a representation agreement, flat out. Therefore, if you're talking to someone who wants to buy a piece of real estate, and you are going to be the person that they're hoping will place them with a very productive agent, I would recommend that you advise them in advance that when you do place them with this agent, keep in mind, they're going to have to sign a contract, a representation agreement. And that agreement might necessitate the buyer paying a commission to use the service of that broker. Now, the truth of the matter is, let's assume that Joseph, you want to buy a piece of real estate. And you and I have spoken in the past, but I'm part of the network. I cannot actively represent you. Although I do know a lot of brokers that you could talk to. You ask me for a referral. When I reach out to that friend of mine, let's say it's Jesse Coombs. Hey, Jesse, I've got a buyer for you. Will you pay me a referral fee? Yes. Now, referral fees have in past been 20%, 25%. But I've met a lot of companies right now that are actually pushing for 30% referral fees. Put that aside. Joseph, I refer you to Jesse. Jesse's going to want you to sign a contract. That contract is the relationship agreement between you and Jesse, and you're a buyer. Now, Jesse's going to show you homes or attempt to show you homes. Before he can do so, Jesse's got to make a decision. Is he going to demand that you pay him a fee for using his services? Or is he going to call the listing broker and try to negotiate a commission split? It's pretty much the way that it has been in commercial all along. Because every time I had a buyer looking to buy a commercial structure, I had to call the listing broker. Hey, this is Dave McGowan, Inland Commercial Brokerage. I've got a buyer that wants to look at the property over on Main Street. Will you share commissions with me? I needed to do that agreement every time. I needed then to get that agent and their designated managing broker to sign it. Otherwise, for me to be compensated for helping that buyer, I needed to get that money from the buyer. That's what's happening to you now. And that's what real estate brokers need to do. If a buyer's agent is looking to get compensated through the seller, which is still legally possible, they've got to get a separate written contract to do that. Otherwise, the contract they sign with the buyer needs to clearly set forth the commission that is going to be due. Now, the way the law is coming down, and I will be sharing with you the documentation as it is developed, we need to make sure that whatever documentation we use clearly sets forth what the relationship is and the responsibilities and roles that everybody's going to play. All right. The agreement that buyers have to sign. And although you won't be dealing with these agreements personally, I'm actually perceiving that you might have to be the foreperson. You're in the lead, you're talking to the buyer, give them some insights. Now, with the seller, I want to just comment, nothing changes with the seller. It's still the way it has been for years. But let the buyer know that when they sign this representation agreement, it is going to clearly and conspicuously indicate if the buyer is going to have to compensate the buyer. I'm sorry, if the buyer's got to compensate the broker. The one thing that we don't know right now is what is the compensation rate going to be? The feedback that I'm receiving at this moment is that some brokers are stating, well, we're not going to change our fee. We're going to keep it at 6%, even though we don't have to pay the buyer. I don't know if that's going to last very long. I've had a couple of other companies I've spoken with, and they're saying, yeah, you know, I think this is going to necessitate cutting the commission payable by the seller down to 2%. And we'll let the buyer pay their own broker a fee. That is something that we don't have a handle at this moment. We'll have to put something together, and I will keep you apprised of this. Also, with this agreement with NAR, the commission that is going to be paid for the buyer's agent needs to be very precise. It cannot be open-ended. I had somebody the other day say, well, can't I just write the commission that maybe it'll come from me, maybe it'll come from the seller? No. You can't do that based upon this agreement. But again, remember, this is still an agreement. This is not the law yet. I'm waiting to hear from the department how they're gonna construct the law and the requirements. Which means we're gonna have a new licensing act, a new component there that we've got to address. Now, guys, you're being very quiet. Is this making sense? Do you have any questions regarding this?
Very, very interesting developments, David. I get it, and makes sense too.
Yeah, there's a lot of things still forthcoming that we have got to be prepared for. And together we'll do that. We'll make sure you're all set.
Great, great.
All right. Now, there are 4 components. Let me just go back a second. I should have commented on my heading at the upper right-hand corner. There are 4 components that came out of this argument, this agreement. That commission statements must be very specific in nature. Commission must be the statement about the commission must be specific and conspicuous. That means we got to put it right on the front of this document. And why this keeps coming up, I don't know. Okay. All right. Next. Language that the broker is prohibited from receiving compensation from any alternative source that exceeds the agreed upon compensation. This one threw me for a loop when I first read it. And the way that it was explained to me, if a buyer enters into a representation agreement, and that agreement specifies that the buyer's going to compensate the broker 3%. It used to be that if I get an agreement to be compensated by the buyer, let's say 3%, can I also be compensated by the seller of 3%? Yes. But that looks right now like that's not going to be allowed. If I'm going to be paid by the buyer, then the buyer's compensation to me is all that I'm going to be allowed to take. I'm not 100% confident in that comment, but we have to wait and play this out.
So does that mean that if you go to a builder and they're paying out 3% and they have a bonus for buying, and you have a compensation says that you're only going to get the 2.5%, that's all that you can get?
That was my interpretation of the way this was explained to me, yes.
Oh, okay.
But that door to me is still open as we still need further clarification on this.
Okay.
So I wish I could be a lot more positive and a lot more definitive in my responses, but unfortunately, it's only been, what, 5 days since the agreement went into place? And nobody really took any real action prior to the 17th to lay out how this is going to actually work out.
Do they have any forms currently in the MLS that show as like a standard form like they used to have for so many other things for this?
They do. I just got it, the copies of them, and I am going to be sharing them all with you because we got new sales contracts, we've got new buyer agency contracts, new seller agency contracts. So
Okay.
I just got copies, a series of these. My intent is to distribute them to all of you so you can actually read up on it and see what the language is going to consist of. This way, when you are working with a referral, you can be a little bit more explicit in what that buyer or even that seller might actually be exposed to. Apparently, we also need to put in all these representation agreements that the commissions, the fees, are fully negotiable. They want to reemphasize the fact, because of antitrust provisions, we cannot set a standard formal commission rate. Now, by the way, all these bullet points I'm giving you right now actually came from the board, the National Association of Realtors, stating, okay, for clarification, here is what this agreement is amounting to. But these bullet points still are a little bit vague. Written agreement. We have to have written agreements. Now, once again, you're doing a referral. Therefore, this agreement is not something that you're going to have to deal with. But I want you to be familiar with this. I'm assuming that when you are setting up a referral, it is somebody you know. Somebody you may have had contact with in the past. And I'm going to make an assumption, and I could be wrong, but they trust you. You're helping to direct them to another real estate agent, an agent that you should be comfortable with. Well, they may ask you, because they trust you, what kind of agreement am I going to have to sign? So I'm giving you a little bit of heads up in what they're telling us. So this is a written agreement that applies to both in-person and virtual meetings. Because today, with society being the way it is, a lot of buyers are starting off by contacting you via internet. By the way, guys, I'm curious. Can I actually show a home virtually today? Can I do that? Yes,
Yes, okay.
it is legal, and many companies are setting this up so that they can do this in order to be able to avoid having to meet with you face to face. So that's why my first bullet point here is written agreement applies to both in-person relationships as well as virtual relationships. But this also threw me for a little bit of a loop. If a real estate broker is having an open house, they represent the seller. Can buyers come to that open house?
Yes.
Yes. If a buyer comes to the open house, if they come to the open house, will they need to sign a buyer representation agreement? No. Because the way the state's looking at this right now, when a buyer comes to the open house, the buyer is a customer. They have no relationship, no obligation to sign that relationship agreement. But if you convert that customer into a client by showing them other homes, maybe homes that you know you've not listed, now you're going to have to enter into a written contract with that buyer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Next. Written agreements, they're not required if the consumer is seeking information. So if I
I
call
have
you up, hey, listen,
question.
go ahead.
It's on something that you said a few minutes ago. So I just wanted clarification, and I'm very inexperienced in this, sorry. If I vaguely know somebody by name and that person is selling her house, and I know her name and her phone number, and I can pass this information to you, and if you contact that person who is selling the house
Mhm.
from my referral in that manner, will I get a commission? Although I never talked to the seller in person about me doing anything at all.
Veronica, as you are my agent, I'm going to protect you. So if the lead starts with you, but you need help in converting this into an active referral with an active company. Yes, if we have to negotiate the referral fee, then I'll make sure that you get the credit for it. This is the way that I can help support you.
Okay, so then it doesn't really matter if I discuss my services with the seller at all, right? As long as I have the right information that I know her name, I know she's selling the house, I know her phone number, I pass it to you, and I can still get a referral because you will contact her, introduce yourself, and is that realistic?
No, it's not. For the reason is that doing a referral, it has to start with you. Have you had any discussion with that individual?
Mm-hmm.
See, the way you're describing it, what comes to mind is you pick up a for sale by owner ad and you just give me the name of that for sale by owner. You want to get a referral fee on that? What have you done to justify being compensated? My presumption was that you actively interfaced with that individual
Mm-hmm.
and maybe you just need some help
Well,
convincing.
I need a ton of help because
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's why we're going to help you understand this. We're going to try and give you some direction and training in that regard.
okay, thank you.
But I
Got it.
need you to be the one that takes the lead and creates the relationship.
Okay, got it.
And in this case here, my slide, if someone says, hey, Veronica, I'm thinking about buying a home. What do you think about it? Do we need to have a written relationship with that individual asking for a little bit of guidance? No. We only need to get that written relationship when they actually get into the mode of looking at properties. When a real estate agent is going to effectively walk them through properties. That's when we need to have that particular agreement.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we had promised you that we would keep these things short. So I'm just about done with this. So the seller can still pay a buyer's agent. Right now, that's not limitation. We just need to negotiate that in advance. Can the seller pay concessions? Yes. Seller can pay some concessions, such as compensating the buyer and closing costs. That's still a possibility. Is the licensee obligated is the agent working with the buyer obligated by the law to look out for the buyer's best interest? That does not change. Yes. That's the fiduciary obligations we possess. So that we want to make sure that client, that buyer or that seller is aware that the broker we place them with is going to have to take care of that person's interest. Also, I want you to understand, if you place a referral, I don't expect you to now drop that referral period. I expect you to follow up on it periodically, both with the person that you placed as well as the agent who was placed with. Where do we stand? If that agent is negligent in taking the care of the person we referred, I'll be the first one to tell you, let's terminate the relationship with that agent. Let's take that client, buyer or seller, and put them with another agent that's going to have a proactive approach to supporting that person. If you refer someone to a real estate agent, you deserve to be compensated. Therefore, let's make sure that agent is doing what we expect of them. And folks, I have a high expectation of these agents. Because if that agent is not taking care of your client, then I don't want to use that agent. I want your client to think back. You know, that was a great experience in buying that home. And it's all because Veronica or Susan started this. Because honestly, I would want that person to tell every friend and relative they have. You want to buy real estate? Hey, why don't you call Susan or Veronica? They'll take good care of you. That is where I believe we need to take this. All right. Well, in this presentation right now, That is, let me change my view here. That is everything that I had for you. There we go. That's what I gotta do. Okay. All right.
There's a couple questions there in chat, Dave. Did you want to maybe respond to those couple of chat
Yes.
about the broker and the last question?
Do we know what happens? Does anything change in the case of brokers selling or buying their own real estate? No, there was nothing in this article that I read from the National Association of Realtors about this. And I'm quite sure that there will be something in the law that is going to reflect that. So that's something we've got to wait until when I talked to the director and the director and Nate Chandler. Nate Chandler is head of licensing and education for the state of Illinois. And I have a good relationship with Nate. When I met with both of them, it was back in May, because we knew this was forthcoming. I asked them, what do they perceive the changes are going to be in the law? They said, we don't know. We're putting together a committee of real estate practitioners and politicians, members of the legislature, to try and come up with an answer to that question. But it is something that we will be looking at. And I'm looking for this to come out probably right around the end of October. So that'll give them plenty of time to work through this. Veronica, you're saying buyers are not going to like this. Honestly, I think you're probably right. Because buyers this is not the way they have been doing business. But it's going to be something that we have to just get used to. I'm also concerned with brokers. I'm not sure how the brokers are going to accept all this. Because the biggest problem that I have right now, Joseph, you are working with a buyer as a broker. How are you going to present yourself to that buyer, expecting that buyer to compensate you for services rendered? So there's going to be a big learning curve here. And I think I'm going to have to do something with the school in order to try and provide some insight into that. Okay. So Anna Maria, you have been following this? That's good. Anna Maria, have I met you?
Yes, you have.
It is you.
It's me. I'm actually here. I just have 1,000 responsibilities and interruptions, and so I'm listening very intently.
Not
and
a problem. Hey, it's good to see you again.
good to see you too, Dave.
I honestly miss a lot of the people that I have known over the years here. This place
Sure.
sometimes feels like
So are
it
you
is a
still
morgue.
officed here or?
Yeah, I'm still here in the building.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Down on the first floor, right off the lobby.
All righty. I'll stop by and say hello sometime.
Sounds good, because I get bored down here. There's nobody that comes around.
Absolutely.
With the pandemic, I feel like many times I'm walking in a morgue.
Yeah,
Almost
it's
like when I
it's
would-
been something.
Yeah, when I come in on Saturdays, nobody's around on Saturdays. That's what I feel like on a Sunday, on a Wednesday, like Thursday today.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm here Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I'll see you next time.
That's the other thing that bothers me. A lot of employees here have gone to a work schedule where they're
Hybrid.
at home more than they are here in the building.
Mm-hmm.
But I know all of you probably have experienced that in your lives at this point. Things are a little bit uncertain.
That's right.
Now, have I answered everybody's questions?
Yes.
We're good?
Yes, please so.
Stephanie?
I
do you have-
guess, I guess I just have one comment.
Yeah.
Know of two people that just sold their homes within the last 2 or 3 weeks. And they had to pay out to both sides. And then when they go to buy, then they have to pay again. I think that's going to be a huge issue
Well, that's where the broker that's working with them as a buyer. He can
Yeah.
negotiate a split of commission with the selling agent. So the obligation for the buyer to have to pay the commission is going to be subject to how strong their broker is in negotiating the commission with the seller's agent. I can see, in all honesty, this buyer that had to pay out the commission because they sold their home
Yeah,
is now going to have to pay out a commission again just to buy a home.
right. And I think that's gonna be a big issue for people.
And that's going to be the learning curve that we as licensees are going to have to work with. Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
All right.
Doesn't seem too fair.
Well, unfortunately, sometimes life isn't fair. We just have to be resilient enough to find a way to overcome it and make it work. And that's going to be one of the things I'm trying to work on, is putting together, how do we get the buyer to understand what's going on? And how do we get the buyer to understand what the benefit could be for them? Now, one of the things I would tell the buyer, keep in mind, you got to pay the commission. That's tax deductible. So we're giving you a tax deductible obligation. But then again, since you're paying the commission, can you now put greater pressure on the broker you're working with to do exactly what it is that you want them to do? Because when the broker was being paid by the seller, a lot of times the seller was in control as to what was going to happen.
Dave, is that possibly being moved into a larger sum of the mortgage for payment?
It depends. I talked to a loan officer
Yeah.
yesterday, and he said, no, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Is
So,
it happening though in some cases? I had a managing broker tell me that the other day, that they were rolling it in.
well, I've heard some companies are going to roll it in. Some companies are not. So I'm going to try my very best over the next 4 weeks to try and get a list of those lenders that will in fact allow for a rollover of the commission into the mortgage amount. I don't know what's going to happen. I do know this though. The VA has already come out and stated that the veteran is allowed to pay the commission to their individual agent. Because the rule for the VA, since it was in the inception in the 1940s, is that the veteran is not allowed to pay any of these fees. Now the VA is saying, yes, the veteran can pay the fee. I have not yet heard if the VA will allow that fee to be rolled into the mortgage amount. Steffi and I will keep you apprised of this so that you could answer questions. Though you're not going to be directly involved in the transaction, I am going to take the presumption that this individual that you're referring has confidence in you, a belief in you, and may even seek some guidance from you. Okay, Stephanie just put a note into the chat. We're going to try and do this every third Thursday at the same time. But as I stipulated, a lot of people are working at this hour, so they may not be able to participate. I might just try and do a half-hour training session on a Saturday. So that is still something that I'm working on, as I do want you to feel that we are going to be behind you 100%. All right, any other questions? I noticed there are people.
Did you see the comment, Dave, from Francis up above?
Francis said it's interesting that Zillow's advertising buyers don't need an agent. I'm going to be very interested in how that's going to pan out as well. So I will keep that note and I will take a look at that and I will keep all of you apprised. But I've noticed that some have already started logging off. Does anybody have any final questions?
Just a
No.
comment, David. I want to thank you very, very much for the excellent insights. I'm looking forward to speaking with you at a private level here next couple of days, and also thank you to you, Stephanie. So,
Sounds good. I look forward to talking to all of you at some point in time. Stephanie, do you have any final comments?
No, thanks, Alfred. We just love what we do, and we're trying to keep these trainings very succinct so that people can get them in, and that they're very quick, and not just the like typical trainings of what you've heard a million times over, which, as you all know, kind of CE is like that, right? CE is kind of the same thing over and over. So we're just trying to help you find leads in different ways, like divorce leads. Where do you find them? Where do you go? Where's a list when someone has, perished on? Where do you find these leads? What lists can you find for people who are looking to grow their business? So we're looking to share things with you guys that are just not typically what you would find in trainings or on continuing education or anything like that, so that we can bring you value. So we're just happy that you're here, and want you to grow as much as you want to. So
Can I start
thanks for
doing
coming.
something already, or I have to wait till training?
No, Veronica, start. Veronica, do you have a brother or sister?
My brother is Canadian citizen. He lives there. That's it.
That doesn't matter. Ask him, does he have any friends here in the Chicago market or in Illinois or anywhere in the country?
Yes.
We've got the capability, even in Canada. Maybe he's got a friend in Canada that wants to buy a house. Veronica, can you call a real estate broker in Canada to make a connection between your brother's friend and that broker? By all means.
Oh, really? We can go international?
Yes.
Huh.
As long as you got your license here, you are free to do referrals anywhere in the world. So please, by all means, keep that in the back of your mind.
So how would you, let's say somebody would give you a lead, right? Somebody said, oh, I know a person, she's selling the house. How would you word it? How would you approach that
Well,
person?
first of all, I want to know, where's the house located? What city? Even if it's in Canada. Second, due to the fact that we don't have a direct contact with licensees in Canada, I would call the local realtor board or the local board that is in that particular community and ask them for a list of potential real estate agents. Personally, it's a lot of work, but this is worth it for my client. I would then take a look at the ratings. How was that individual agent rated on the internet? I want to pick an agent that has got high ratings, high referrals. Then I would call that agent up and say, I've got a person who's in your community that is looking to sell a house. I'd like to set up a referral with you. What are the terms you offer on referral agreements? I might even then say, typically, I'm looking for a 25% referral fee. And then I would take it from there to see how that agent responds.
Okay, but how would you approach the person who is selling the house?
Oh, I'd call them up. Hey, I was referred to you by my brother. Veronica, what's your brother's first name?
Dmitry.
Hi, I was referred to a friend of mine, Dimitri. He mentioned that you were looking to sell your home.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to help you find a quality broker that would represent you, be able to meet your needs in finding a buyer ready, willing, and able. Will you give me authorization such that I can create this connection with you and a broker? They may say no, they may say yes, but I learned in the industry, for me, no is no, never a no, no is but a maybe. So I'll
Got it.
try it again. I would even ask them, well, can I send you via email some information about myself and what we can do to help you tie in with a quality broker to represent you looking for a buyer.
Okay.
So I try to get a contact in that way. But just
Got it.
off, Anna Marie, thank you, take care. But just off just without any pre-planning, that's a little bit of how I might go about doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does. It actually helps a lot. Thank you.
And now keep in mind though, I'm conscious of the fact that many times when we're doing something brand new like this, we get a little bit apprehensive. I'm going to use a word. We get scared. I've gotten scared. But the strength is doing this together. Here, I can be your support, helping you feel more comfortable in getting this thing accomplished.
How to contact you guys? Will you provide any, I don't know, emails or something?
Yeah, there's going to be an email that'll come out to you with all the details, contact information for myself, for Stephanie. We're also going to give you the referral forms that you can keep, and you can print off as you need. In fact, Stephanie just put into chat the email address, contact@inlandnetwork.com. The website is inlandnetwork.com. But if you take that email address, that comes to a central file that both Stephanie and I have access to. And either one of us will respond to you quickly.
Okay,
All right?
got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions or comments?
Not for me. Looking forward to the additional information, David and Stephanie, and you know, this is great. I commend you guys for putting this together. Wow. Just
Thank you very much, Alfred. I look forward to working with you.
great. Thank you.
All right, folks, have a great afternoon. You get out there and enjoy some sunshine. I'm looking outside at blue skies with little wisps of clouds. If I didn't stick here till 10 o'clock tonight, I would be outside enjoying that weather.
It is a nice day. Yes.
See you
Thank you
guys
so
later.
much.
Yep.
You're welcome. All right, everybody,
David
have a
and
wonderful
Stephanie,
day.
thank you.
Nice
Take
to meet
care,
you all.
everyone.
Thanks again. Talk soon.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
again.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye now.
Bye-bye.